Yes. Good morning to our listeners and viewers of the Real Stuff podcast. Today is Wednesday, and on Wednesday we have a featured guest. Today's guest is Miss Maizle Goulbourne. Miss Goulbourne is a former teacher and a language arts expert and has a degree in education and a Master of Arts in teaching. She's a Myconian, an author, born and raised in Jamaica, and is married with 5 children. Though retired from full-time teaching, she now teaches online on a part-time basis. The Real Stuff podcast welcomes Maizle Goulbourne.
Thank you for having me. That's a mouthful.
Okay. So the floor is yours, Ms. Goulbourne.
Yeah, tell us a little about you and how you got into this fascinating topic.
All right. So, as was said already, I'm a Jamaican. I was born in Kingston, KPH. I was raised in the northeastern side of St. Andrew, and I went to school there as well. I went to Providence Primary School many, many moons ago. And then from there, I transitioned to Papine High School. It was high school in my time.
Yes.
And then after that, I developed a love for writing from very early. I used to write my own little pieces of poetry, or I just loved words. And once I heard a new word, I would look it up. In those days, I'm not even sure if I had a dictionary then. I probably had to go to the library. We used to have mobile library in the community as well, coming into the community and all of that. And so my thirst for knowledge has always been there. And the power of words are very important, very, very important, because it is the power of words that helps us to express ourselves in the way that we want to. And from my heart, Patwa is deep in my heart. I'll talk some more about that later as we progress. So that's me really. The rest was said earlier about my family and so on and so forth. Growing up though, my father, I must say that my parents also had made sure that their children were educated. They did the best they could for us. We went to school every day as far as I can remember. So that was never missing. There were 8 of us, so it wasn't easy to raise 8 children during those days, but all of us can read and write and have done well in life. My father, though, I remember when I was about to finish senior school in those days, he said to me, "What do you want to become?" And at the time, things were going around. People were saying different things. I didn't even fully understand, but I said to him, "I'd love to become a secretary. Maybe because I like words and I enjoy language." And so he sent me to a commercial school. So I went to Eastern School of Commerce down on East Street there. And I did a commercial program. I did shorthand and typing and a whole secretarial program. Bookkeeping was a part of it as well. It was very interesting. And after that, I was able to get a job. And my first job at University Hospital of the West Indies. And it was an interesting job. Here I was, age 19, going to a prestigious place to work. And at this time, we still had the British here. They were leaving us, but they were transitioning back to England, but they were still here. some of them. And so I did an interview, and I always said this to my husband. I said, boy, Daddy, every time I look back on that interview, I amaze myself because I never knew um, I was as good as they thought I was. But I went into a typing pool to do a transcription, and it was the head of the department, of the medical records department, who took me across there. He was a Caribbean gentleman, Mr. Pakeman, I can remember his name. And I did that. He dictated to me a passage with medical terminologies, and I had to read. I had good about that. One word had me ruffled, and I didn't know I'd be able to spell the word correctly, but I used the phonetical skills that I was taught from primary school. The word was gangrene. I had no knowledge what gangrene meant, but I managed and I got the job. And he used me at his desk. I now became his secretary. He was head of the department and he had a large medical record staff. And so I was nervous. It was good to be in that space, but I was really nervous. But there were two ladies over there that took me. One was the admissions officer and the other was the births and death officer, Miss Borland and Mrs. Spencer. And they helped to groom me somewhat, you know, so that I could get more comfortable. And I remembered about 6 months, it could have been about 6 months of being in that job. One of the professors in the what is now called the child health department, it was pediatrics at the time, the children's department, left. No, it was not the professor. The secretary of the professor of that section resigned, and word was going around that, you know, the boss was now looking for somebody to put there. And I never thought anything of it. I just came. I was learning the skills in medical terminology. So I never saw myself as being in the lineup. But at the end of the day, I was selected. I was placed there. And can I tell you, I did well? I did well, you know, because I got the praises from them. And I knew then that what I was doing was right. And while I was there, I was trained by a specialist that came in from the US. I believe she was Jamaican. I can't remember her name, but she was attached to the campus, UWI, the campus. I was working in the hospital because the doctors had contracts apparently between the University of the West Indies and the teaching section and also the hospital, which was a practice. And so I was trained as a medical secretary, and I was a valedictorian. I was selected again by my peers in that group to represent them. So I think there is a little something there in terms of the language and the love for it that is embedded in me.
Thank you.
Okay,
Morning, Christine.
Oh.
Christine, can you unmute?
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Good to
morning.
have you. Good
How
to
you
have
doing?
you.
Hi, Christine.
Hi, Maizle.
Glad
My
you made it.
apologies.
No problem, no
Yes, but
problem. Go ahead, Courtney.
unfortunately, I don't have to on camera.
Okay, Ms. Goulbourne, I see you mentioned that there are two languages that are spoken in Jamaica, English and Patwa. You know,
Yes.
so, and you're talking, you know, and you talk about like, you know, bridging the gap in reading and writing by using Patwa. But so, but most people don't see Patwa as a language, you know. They see it as a form of Creole or a explain to us, why you consider Patwa a language.
All right. Patwa is a language because it has syntax. That's for one thing. It has letters. It has A to Z letters. It has its own tone. And all the elements of a language is in the Patwa language. For example, it has an alphabetical system, A to Z, just like in English. It has vowel sounds, just like in English. It has consonants, just like in English. It has grammatical rules, subject, verb, object, but it doesn't have the same kind of discipline in terms of the verb. But we don't need that. That is how our language is structured, right? And so I'll explain to you why I said that, why I say that. And it also has syntax, which is how words and phrases are formed in sentences. I'm going to turn to my Patwa book.
Okay, go ahead.
Right. And on page, I believe on page 39, it has, look at the grammatical structure. So here's an example to demonstrate how the verb like functions in Patwa, which is different from in English, right? Because we talk about singular verb, singular noun takes a singular verb, plural noun takes a plural verb. So that's the structure for English, but in Patwa, we're gonna use like. In English, we would have to say, I like. In Patwa, we say, me like, me like. So that's an equivalent there. We also say in English, he likes. In Patwa, we say, him like. I am. We don't use a sound in Patwa. We're not into the, right? Him, we don't say him, we say him. We say him like. In English, we say, she likes. In Patwa, we say, she like, him like, she like. We're not changing the verb. The verb remains constant, like all the way. In English, we say, you like. In Patwa, we say, you like. We're okay there. In English, we say, we like. In Patwa, we say, we like. We like. And they like in English is them like in Patwa. You all like in English is uno, all like. So the point I am making, where the verb changes in English based on whether it's a singular, the tense, whether it is singular or plural, in Patwa, it doesn't change. It remains constant. So like remains like. It doesn't change at any time to become likes. Like in English where you say he, she likes. We say him like, she like, them like, Paula we like, we all like. That is the structure. But that's the way the language is developed. And that's the way we learned it, we know it. So since we can express it already and we know it, let's apply use the grammatical rules now to have a standardized writing style. And this is where now the Jamaica Language Unit has worked with Cassidy's work. Cassidy started this Patwa writing style. And the Jamaica Language Unit now, they have taken it, have tweaked it, and have standardized it. And that is what is being used now. And I know in some spaces abroad, because you see, I'm interested in the language, and to know the language, I have to follow where the language is taught, where it is written, and where it is used. And so I go to some of these places and listening, or they sometimes ask me to have a say, to express, my thought, and I do that.
Yes, I really find what you're saying very interesting and intriguing. But explain to us then, how would this bridge the gap in reading and writing? Because as you know, I see that there are statistics out there showing maybe the reason why our literate rate is like what it is, and why people are not reading and writing properly, because communication is mostly done by Patwa in Jamaica. So
All right.
give us a little explanation how how would you approach this gap, to bridge this gap with this Patwa and English.
All right. Well, the bridging has to come about by the teachers, and the teachers are a nice set of people, and they have been doing this for years. The books are written in English language. The students go to the school. Some of the students go to the school. In fact, all of them, but well, most of them go to the schools speaking Patwa. So who do you think helped the students to transition from the Patwa that they come to the school with to standard English? Where I have had to learn how to speak properly in standard English. The teacher will say, this is how we say it. So I go into the classroom and I say, me glad me there, me glad for soon. The teacher would embrace it, because teachers don't embarrass students. They want them to learn. They would say, okay, James, I can see that you enjoy this or you like this, right? And you have said this, so it's now in English, right? And then you do the transition. Parents do the transition at home too. I don't want my children to speak Patwa, and in those days, they couldn't. They were not allowed to come home with it because they were being taught in school to speak English. And so at home, as parents, because we could speak the language and we wanted them to do well in English at school, we make sure if they come with a proper expression, we correct it by telling them, this is how you should. So the teachers are the ones who will actually do the reverse now. So the students can't, the literacy, interesting that you refer to that. My take on it is, having been in the classroom myself, I know what it is like. And I've been in classrooms where I have grade 9 students, third form students coming over to us at school. And these are very tall men. Most of them are boys. We have a few girls. I will tell you, if you have 100 boys, you probably have 5 girls in that mix. It is a thing. And so when you look at these future men, it used to break my heart to see them not being able to read and write. And I was at one point, I'm talking about high school, I made the Patwa to English. And it was a struggle, because by the time they go back home or they were with their friends, they are back into the Patwa. So you have to start all over again. And at that stage, most of them become very discouraged and can't bother. Their parents, to some extent, that will help to make the transition. So my take on it, I'm saying here, Flavors, Courtney, is we're not going to force Patwa on them. It's their mother tongue. They know it. So if they're not doing well at grade 9, third form, 2 more years, and you're out, what are you going to do? You can try as you may to help them to learn the English language at that stage. read and write, but some of them won't. So I am saying kick in, even at that stage in desperation. Use what they come with, the Patwa, and show them how you can write it and write your love letters and your poems and whatever you need to write, your songs and your expressions, and get that out in words. Our society right now has a lot of issues. And I'm not going into the social issues, but I know if you have a calm heart, you feel good. And I know they can't feel happy knowing that they leave school and they can't read and write. So for me, a calmer society, we probably could use this as a means of helping some understand expressions. You go to banks, you go to legal terms, technical terms, you go to doctor, and you're told this, and the doctor asks you, so what is your name? And you say, you give your name the way how you say it in Patwa, and the doctor corrects it and say, oh, you are John, not John. You know how it is. So yeah, and it's not a nice feeling. The doctor is telling you something in English, your medication, your prescription in English. You don't even understand the terminology, because you see, all of this reading and writing has to do with vocabulary, word power, how you understand the word, what is the meaning of this word. And if you don't know that, how are you going to function, you know, the way you should? So
I
there
have a
is a big
question
gap.
for you.
Yeah,
We know that Patwa is made up of words and expressions from many languages, like some African languages that were brought here and all that. Words and expressions that are not part of English. How you deal with that? Not hearing me?
or Jamaican. I'm hearing you, yes. Right. So I'm saying we don't have to break down the meaning of words that are already in Patwa. We understand the meaning of them the way they have been passed on to us by our parents or our generation. So that's how we understand those expressions. So all you need to do now is to write it. And then you can read it back for yourself. So we're just completing the process, you know. We're not reinventing the wheel here. We have it.
But a lot of
No,
times, one moment, Courtney. A lot of times, that's where the problem comes in. The writing of the words.
Yes,
How do
yes,
we
yes.
how do we get past that hurdle?
All right, that's a good question. And that's why I am on your program today, because I'd love this about the world so that they can understand that the Jamaica language unit at the University of the West Indies, to which Caroline Cooper was attached until her recent retirement, they are the ones that have developed the writing system that we are using. And it is that writing system that I have put in this book. And it is this
Okay.
same writing system that I'm rolling out on Amazon. There are 4 videos out there. The first one, I highlighted to them, I told them in that video that the Patwa has A to Z vowels, A to Z letters, but it has 12 vowels, unlike English. And I express them in that video so that they can understand how those sounds are expressed in Patwa, right? And then the video that I just released, video 4, I now use some of the vowels that I have released in the first 3 videos to form sentences so that they can now read those letters in sentences. And as I continue my work, I will roll out the complete list of vowels, higher A to Z alphabet. Once you know that, and you know how to manipulate, it's easy. In fact, the fourth video that I released, I now have people that I don't know, who my friends have sent the video to, and the feedback has been that, can I know from the class? That's very encouraging, but I'm not going to have like a Zoom class or anything like that right now, because I'm trying to get everybody in any corner of the world who want to learn to speak Patwa, chat it, or who want to write it or read it, to learn it on my YouTube page. You just go there and download, look at the lessons in your own time and space. You learn the lessons, you write down, make your own notes, right? To call this the Patwa class, Master Patwa class, because that's what I know call it. Each time I roll out a new video, you add that. And after already out there. And in terms of reading material, there is a Bible that I got when I started. It's called the Jamaican New Testament. It's the first Patwa Bible that came out. I was excited about it. I'm in Mandeville, miles away, hour and something drive. I went into Kingston, I got it in Pavilion Mall. I think that's where I found it. And I bought it and I am benefiting from it. But since that time, subsequent to that time, there is a website that has this Bible online, also other Bibles online in Patwa, and also other reading literature. jw.org is a website out there. It's a large website. It has a lot of stuff. But in terms of Patwa, Patwa is what I'm talking about here. A lot of reading stuff. Plus, if people want to read the Bible, there's a generation that can't, of some, who, my older folks, some of them still can't read. They're up in age, but they love the Holy Bible. I would love to read their Bible. So if they follow the link, they will learn how the letters are formed. So when they get a copy of the Bible for themselves, or they go online, they'll be able to read the Bible and feel good.
So
Yes.
how is this being taken on though?
It is new to me, and I'm not fighting it. It will come naturally. I'm just gradually putting it out there to help to sensitize those who are willing to come on board. My page is growing, and I'm getting positive feedback. So I believe over time, more people will come on board and more people see. You see, where I'm not asking here for Patwa to replace English language. No, 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 no. We need English language. It is the standard language right now of Jamaica. That's how we trade. That's how we do our mission for tourism, for culture, for music, for whatever we are doing with the international world. Standard English. So while you teach standard English, at the same time, there is a place for Patwa. And Patwa is our mother tongue. So don't you think we should at least get our people to read and write it? That's the question that I am asking.
And the answer is a
And
resounding
you be the
yes.
judge. You be
Yeah,
the judge.
the answer is a resounding yes.
So everything is for free. My book is on Amazon, by the way. This book is on Amazon, and it costs very little. It's a few, how much? 14 something. I think about 15 US dollars. It's not much. So those who want like a text to guide them along, they can go ahead and take this. This is on Amazon, but the The videos are out there for free.
Wonderful, wonderful.
That's my passion. That's my love. I really want our Jamaicans to, in their space, they don't have to tell me, but if they speak English and they want to learn, read and write Patwa, they can go ahead in their own space. The videos are there. But please subscribe. I have to ask them to subscribe so that the page can grow. Then I'll be able to roll out more videos at a faster pace. Yeah.
Christine, you want to come in
Video
now?
editing. I have to
Yes.
Yes, I
Good
can
morning.
bring Christine now. Sure.
All right, so we start at the first part.
So Christine is here because she is. Tell Christine, please tell them who you are and what you do.
Okay, I am an animated storyteller, so I put life into the stories, create the characters, bring them to life with voice and animation, literal my animation. So today I'll be reading an excerpt from Maizle Goulbourne's book, When the Sun and the Moon Ran Away. And I'm gonna start with part of the chapter. Long, long ago, way, way up in the sky, there lived a boy by the name of Marlon Moon and a girl whose name was Sally Sun. Sally Sun lived with her mother, Mama Sun, and Marlon Moon lived with his father, Papa Moon. They lived in different parts of the sky, and so they had never met before. Sally Sun lived in the east of the sky, and Marlon Moon lived in the west of the sky. One day, they decided to run away. They ran far, far away to a place where they could be free like the birds in the sky. Marlon Moon and Sally Sun met way out in space while on their way to a hiding place. Sally Sun looked happy, but Marlon Moon looked very sad. "Hello," said Sally Sun to Marlon Moon. "Hello," replied Marlon Moon. "Why do you look so sad?" Sally Sun asked. "I am looking sad because I am very, very unhappy. I want to be free like the birds up in the sky, but Papa Moon wants me to take over his role as king of the night light. You see, for a very long time, my father, Papa Moon, has been responsible for giving the light to the earth. He does so at night, along with the help of my cousins, the stars, and he has been doing so without taking any rest. It is a lot of hard work, and I am not ready to do that yet," Marlon Moon replied. Said Sally Sun. "That is very funny. I am running away too. In fact, you and I are having a similar problem. Mama Sun has been queen of the daylight for millions of years, but she has grown old and now she wants to pass all of her powers to me. Then I will have to provide the earth with daylight. But I will not be sad. You should try to be like me, Marlon Moon. Put a smile on your face when you are sad. It will take away the sadness and the world will never know." Sally Sun had a curious look on her face as she asked Marlon Moon to tell her where he was going. "I do not know where I am going," said Marlon Moon. "But one thing I do know is that my feet won't slow down, so I must keep on running and running and running."
All right. Nicely done. All right. So that's my children's book, which was written some time ago, When the Sun and the Moon Ran Away. So I'm going to read now the Patwa version. I have just converted that for this for your show to tell you how it would sound in Patwa. And I have written it in Patwa, so I'm reading in Patwa. All right. One long time ago, then did have two rude picnic in the sky. One named Marlon Moon and the other one named Sally Sun. Sally Sun live in the east and Marlon Moon live in the west. So one day, the two of them buck up in the sky. but then they know them one another before. And Marlon Moon look happy either. So Sally's son said to him, what? Him answer back and say, nothing, but me not happy, cause me not feel free like the bud them up here. You see, my father Papa Moon, a king at the night light up here. A long time him a give night light to them down on earth, with some help from a cousin, the stars them. But now him a get old and him want pass on all him powers over to me. So me not happy. Say Sally son, that's very funny. And that face me too. Cause for my mother, Mama son, are the queen of the daylight. And she get old too. And she want pass on fear powers to me too. But me nena make that bother me. Me just a laugh it off, cause cause me I go run away. So the two of them take off and them run and run and run and run. I love Patwa.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Wonderful. Yeah. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Just a moment. Go ahead.
Yes, you can go ahead with more stories if you got them right. Yeah.
Should I continue reading?
No,
Yes, go ahead.
no, thanks. I'm not going to continue reading for the simple reason that I want people to buy the book as well. I am marketing my book. And so I just gave them a snip of what is in the book. And yes, and so they can get the book because it's, Christine, tell them where they can get the book, please, and where they can find you. The publishers are MLH Publishing.
It's LMH Publishing. They are on Norman Road, which is opposite the little on the left-hand side at Sagicor Industrial Park, downtown CSO Post Office. So they're at LMH. You access security where they are and you'll find them. You can purchase the books at LMH Publishing, and they can let them know that they saw the video and they're responding to that to get the book When the Sun and the Moon Ran Away by Maizle Goulbourne. All right. I'm sure they're also in the bookstores, but it would be better to get them at LMH if you can't find them any more supplies in the bookstores. All right.
Right. Thank you,
Okay.
Christine. And also what they can do is just go on their smartphone and look for LMH. They will find their website, their phone number and all that detail. And if they are overseas, they can call them or WhatsApp. They have a WhatsApp page there too. Just do that and they will speak back to them and guide them as to how they can get the book. All right, so that's one thing. In terms of the book, I'd like to speak a little bit more though about how Patwa can take us. Is what's his name? Bolt. Is Bolt's expression to the world?
Yes.
There's an expression out there, to the world. Right. So how we can take Patwa to the world. Now to the world is really a Patwa expression. It's English Patwa, but it makes an impact. So there are people in different quarters of the earth that love the language, you know. I was talking to somebody this morning who sent me some information to suggest, he sent some suggestion. He says, this is such a fine work that you're doing, and the simplicity in which the book is written and the YouTube pieces are done, that he suggested, he said even small children can understand how to read and write Patwa. And so that hit home to me because that's where I wanted to go. But of course, I am not the one who will actually help children to learn to read and write Patwa. Like I say, it is a teacher. I myself am a teacher. I'm not in that space anymore, But when children use a Patwa language, don't tell them that it is wrong, it is bad, they shouldn't say it, and so on. Just give them the alternative, which is the English to that, but you still let them embrace the Patwa. And in the meantime, come on my YouTube page and learn the structure of the language, the lettering of the language, the syntax, how you form, use those letters to form words and to construct sentences, and so on. All of that is there for you. Now, we need to look also at how Patwa can help tourism. We're a tourist country. And I am sure they know that. The tourists love the language. When you go abroad and you speak in Patwa, we try when we go abroad, though, to speak in their language, maybe because we don't want them to identify us as Jamaican. But once you open your mouth as a Jamaican and they hear it, there are some who gravitate to it. They love it, And I at one time years ago when I said something in Patwa in a space, and somebody said to me, I love the language. I love the accent. I didn't know I even had an accent. So we have all these things here hidden. People abroad admire it, love it. People come here for the sun, the beach, the music, and everything else. But the language is the puller. How else would they know about the music and the other things unless there is a language to communicate with thought and expressions and so on? Those songs are not just instrumental, they have words, right?
Let me say something about my experience, how great Patwa is and how Patwa made us very proud. I went to we could call international schools, where you had people from China, India, England, all over, Greek, Italian.
Germany.
Everybody was there. Everybody
went
to that school.
Yes.
And of course, it's an English school. So, well, it wasn't in England, but it was an English-based thing. So in class, everything is English, standard English. But when the door opens and everybody comes out, everybody moved to their national language. So the Chinese was in one corner talking. We couldn't understand what they were saying. The Indians, the Italians. So we were talking Patwa. They couldn't understand what we were saying either. So,
and you are proud to be speaking Patwa.
Yeah, because we had our own language.
That's right. And we could communicate with each other and understand.
Oh, yes.
Understand each other. Yes.
In fact, it was a bit more than that because it was all Caribbean together, And all of us were speaking Patwa, although, you have a little difference here and there. But we were just as happy as the other groups from different countries because they were in their language. I don't know what they were talking. We don't understand them, but them didn't understand us either. So you feel so free, so good.
Yes, man. Proud moment. I have been in that space too, where I really feel that way because I never knew we had an accent, all those things. But when you go abroad, yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
They really appreciate the language. So we have it. Let's own it. We are Jamaican, or we live here, or we live in the diaspora, wherever we are. Those elsewhere who it's not their mother tongue, but they want to learn it. Sure. Just go to YouTube and just check on Maizle Goulbourne. The videos are there, and I'm taking it slowly. In fact, I got a call. Can I tell you? I got a call from somebody in England. I don't know her. It was a friend of mine who sent the video to her, and she was responding. And so this friend of mine sent me the copy of her expressions in it. And then I said to my friend, why don't you give her my number so she could call me? And she called me on WhatsApp and we spoke. And she said, thank you very much for what you are doing. I don't speak the language. I'm not Jamaican, but I'm learning it because you are going at a slow pace.
Okay.
Yes.
But what I find, when people migrate to Jamaica or come to Jamaica to work, one of the first thing they do is grab onto the language. You know?
The Chinese are
Everybody,
here.
everybody.
And
Yeah,
they
oh
want
yeah,
to
well,
learn the language.
especially the new
Yeah.
Chinese that are here now, because we
Yes.
have them in our neighborhood, running the supermarkets and all that, and all of them
Yes.
are
Yes.
into the Patwa now.
Yes.
Yeah,
So help them to be fluent here.
yeah.
Yeah, read and write it, man, and learn it. All right. So one more thing I think I could mention. I did mention it before, but just to say that when we use our own language to express our feelings and thoughts, it makes us feel good. Like I said recently that when I want to have a good laugh or to let my hair down, I resort to my Papa roots. But when I want to watch a play, I go look for one of Louise Bennett or Oliver Samuels.
Yes.
Play. I used to go to pantomime simply to enjoy the Jamaican culture that is highlighted there, you know. And so I can't forget those things, man. It has really helped me to be who I am, in addition to other things that have helped me along the way, like the spiritual aspect of my life. I am grounded to that. And so I feel the pain for some people who really would love to do a little reading for themselves and they can't.
Yeah.
Yet they speak Patwa. So if they speak Patwa, just let them learn to write it, man, so they can read it back for themselves, how good they're going to feel if they can just write something, a little love verse or a little line. When I say love verse, the Bible is filled with a lot of that in the Proverbs and Psalms and those books. You have those love verses there. They might very well want to write one in Patwa. If somebody read it to them, right, in from the Bible in English, but they now can speak Patwa and they say, "Oh, man, let me write that for you." You write it now in a Patwa, all right, and read it back and get the message. So Patwa has a place, and yeah, I think we need to, as Simone said recently in an interview with me, she said, we need to mash it down. It is not bad speak.
I find Patwa is probably the most expressive language. It's extremely expressive. Things you can say in Patwa, I don't think you can say it in any other language. You will get really deep,
That's right. Yeah, and even a nice piece of poetry too. I have read English poems, right? I came out of the day when you learn Shakespeare and stuff like that. And I have read those poems. They never meant one thing to me. I just follow the route because you are in school and them are teachers, so you just have to learn and go on. But now, with the guys, them writing their patois and expressing their patois pieces, and I listen to them, I connect to them, right?
Yes.
I connect to them and I understand if it might not be a case where I gravitate to that particular piece, but I understand what they are saying, so I'm not at a loss.
Yeah. Yes,
yep,
Christine.
But just a quick question, though.
Before Courtney, Christine has a raised hand.
Okay, good. Go ahead, Christine.
I would love to hear one of those pieces if you have any.
No, I don't have them today. No. No, sorry. I'll do that for you another time.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I have sent the information for the publishers in the group on your WhatsApp.
Nice. Nice.
Sorry?
Thanks. Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you too, Christine.
Yeah, the question I just want to ask you before we leave is this. What is more difficult, to write English or to speak it?
To speak English, even now, as a language teacher, the grammatical structure sometimes, bowl you. Sometimes I have to be wondering, was that said correctly? Or, yeah, the tense kind of thing. So English is not an easy language to learn and to speak and to maintain. It's like, it's crisp.
No, because like the reason why I ask you, I remember my days in high school that my English teacher, or she did literature too. So, she always said to me, "Oh, you write so good English, but I never hear you speaking it." And then, because of the point that you are making, I realized that, for the communication that when communicating with your friends, your peers at school, communicating at home, we never really speak English. We always talk in the Patwa.
That's our comfort zone.
Right. So, so I think the challenge, so therefore then the challenge is really having more people speaking Patwa in school then, or having it being spoken more in school.
No, it's spoken. No, man, it is spoken in school. The teacher, they might not take it in the classroom during the formal training, but once the teacher step out of the classroom, them start talking to them friend in the Patwa,
Of course, of course.
Yeah, and on the playfield and outside when they're at the talk shop, and it is the Patwa. So it's there. And like I said earlier on, the teachers over the years have been very good because they are the ones that have been making the transition from the Patwa to standard English. The books are written in standard English. The children now have to realign their brain to learn the standard English, right? And that is good. That is good. And I benefited from that. But all I'm saying, bring on board Patwa as well to help them. And, the educators will know maybe they're reading books and so on. Words, over the years, they have been dropping in a few words in Patwa in those book texts as well.
What do you think of this? I find that over the world, people are now mixing languages. Like two people are talking and they talk something in English and it finish off in French or Spanish or Patwa.
Can I tell you, Carlin Cooper had an article, I used to follow her closely. Chaka Chaka English. And that was a Patwa with the English. Yeah, and that was good as well, because, at the time I could not read this type of Patwa. This is now like, I would say, this is a formal type of Patwa. This to me now is a standardized form of Patwa because the university language department at the university, as I speak, they are the ones are working with it. They are the ones have been helping us with it. And like when I wrote my book, the one in Patwa, I told the story. I called Carlin Cooper, and then she was very nice, but she had just left, just retired from university.
Okay.
She put me on to somebody up there, a very nice lady, who I still talk to. And every time I do a YouTube video, I send her a piece, for her to look at it. But if I have a question to ask about maybe a Patwa pronunciation or something about a Patwa spelling, where do you think I'll go? Up there.
Okay.
So the other ones, language unit, University of West Indies.
Yeah, but as you said before, that is a standardized way of Patwa, but you know that in different regions of Jamaica, different rural areas, the Patwa is spoken differently.
Everywhere,
yes,
even in the city.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
That's true, but we can get around that. In English, we say, you say potato, I say potato. But we mean the same thing. You say tomato, I say tomato, or tomatoes. The same thing. Mean the same thing. So it can happen, and it is happening with, it's the same thing with Patwa, no different. For example, I did some rollout in YouTube where I'm saying, like I'd say, this, inner this, inner this, inner. So it is, the sound is short. So it will be in, and na, N-A, na. So I write it with a hyphen, in, na. That's what I'm talking about. But in other places, and in the Bible too, there, I also use I, which represents that E sound. and then I add N-A. So it will be Ina. If you see it like that, I, which is E, that's a sound it gives, and you see N-A to it, that word is Ina. But if you see it with I-N space, it's hyphen, N-A, it is Ina. They both mean the same thing, no difference.
But the big question now is, how is the society taking it on? Meaning the government, Ministry of Education, people in those spheres.
Well, I am yet to find out, but I'm working. In fact, I have somebody, a friend of mine, a friend of my husband, who I came to know very well. And I spoke to her recently. In fact, I sent some of the videos to her. I sent one. I want to send it to her. She said, send me all of them, man, so I can send it to culture, somebody in the Grange area. Right. So I am hoping that it would have at least gotten to the door, if it hasn't gotten to the door in that ministry. So I'm yet to get feedback, but I'm trying, because I see no reason why people, if you're a Jamaican, learn to read and write it. You already speak it. I'm teaching you to learn to read and write it. If you're not a Jamaican, you learn to speak it, read it, and write it. I am teaching the whole gamut for free.
Wonderful. This is wonderful, yes.
The only thing you will have to do, if you need to get the book will take you faster, because the videos are coming at a slower pace.
Yeah.
If you need to be on rapid, sure, I'd welcome you purchasing the book. It says Easy Steps to Learn Jamaican Patwa. And Jamaican here is spelled Jamaikan. That's Jamaican, because the IE represents A. That is the letter A in Patwa.
Okay.
This is on Amazon.
Yes.
Right.
So Courtney, can you close off for us? This has been very great. Yes, wonderful. And we need to invite you back, so you can expound some more.
So, thank you for having me. Yes.
Thank you very much, it was just a wonderful session talking, about Jamaican Patwa. Yeah, what for us tell them, say, it's a language.
It is.
Sometimes when in some forums, I'm afraid to talk about, certain little things and all of that. So, so we're talking about Patwa. We just use some writers, say, well, a Patwa we say.
A Patwa we say, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
A Patwa we say, it has a written structure. It is a language. It is a language.
Yeah, man. So, we are so happy to have you, and, I think, we have to talk again. So we'll work on that, and surely we know that you'll have more to tell us about our Jamaican
language, yes. Yeah, we probably need to call it Jamaican now.
Funny that you said that. I was at a session earlier, I think it was earlier this year or late last year, where one of the moderators was Caroline Cooper and some of the folks from the Jamaican language unit. And in that space, they were actually talking about that, and they were saying that maybe we need to call the Jamaican Patwa language Jamaican.
Yes.
So funny that you say that. I'm sure Caroline Cooper would love to hear you say that, because I was there in that seminar the night or the evening when she was grappling with it and saying to the guys at UWI, said, well, maybe we need to call this man Jamaican.
Yeah, that's what we should, yes.
There we go. There we go.
And that will change the whole connotation of the Patwa, because Patwa has had a bad rap from beginning, So if we change the name and make people realize that it is something official, something good, all of us know it already. We need to do something
That's
like
the
that.
key.
Yeah.
That's the key. We know it already. That's
Of
right.
course.
And it's a language.
Yeah, it is. It is, yes.
It's a language.
Well, we did use it as a language, and we benefit from it. We feel so good that we
now
were
it
in
has a
our own
standardized
space,
written form. Yeah.
and we were talking to each other, and
Yes.
and that was wonderful.
Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So you're on my side. I love that.
Yeah, anything in closing, Christine?
Well, it was exciting. It is really exciting. With I also feel very comfortable speaking Patwa whenever I do my animated storytelling visits. I incorporate Patwa into the standard English, and help the children to make the connection between the Patwa and the English, that sort of thing. And even when they're doing the exams, we try to, before they do the exams, help them to understand what the standard mean in Patwa, just in case they get a transition in the, in the paper, how they translate that, to help them to express and translate it. So it is a good thing, and definitely we need to continue, encourage Patwaism, but also encourage the balance between interpreting, making the transition between both, and expressing both on paper.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for
Yes,
having me.
Ms. Goulbourne, any closing remarks?
Yes, please. So I want to say to the entire world, including our fellow Jamaicans, that Patwa is a language. It has a written structure. It is has been developed at the University of the West Indies, our own University of the West Indies. There's a language department there. They have done that. Is understand.
Yeah, thank you all for coming, and Courtney will get in touch with you for our part 2, so we can move on. And I think the work you are doing, it is just fantastic. Great work. And there are a few other people who are doing something similar. So I am very pleased to know that, and know that our language is going up as opposed to going down.
Yeah.
But we have to get the bureaucrats on board also.
Yes.
That's very important.
I think thank you. I think through your program and others, give them time. It will come.
Yeah.
Because I'm keeping my focus.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
You lead us to Fula. You belong far away away. Ajugwala Lebabu Seru. Lida Mua, Lida Sungfula. Lida Mua, Lida Sungfula.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
All you gotta do is just speak. One word is enough. no longer sorrow. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna do, but you're no good for me. That's why me know what set me if it go flee. Me have to take away me say. Me have to take away me say. Me have to hide like a thief in the night. Me have to get out of sight. Me have to take away myself. I have to take away myself. I have to utilize I will.